TrekWars, Duels Across the Stars. Episode 7. The Droids You're Looking For.
War. The Borg Collective is crumbling under attacks by the ruthless assassin droid HK-47. There is artificial life on both sides. Evil is everywhere. In a stunning move, the fiendish exocomp Peanut Hamper has swept into Delta Quadrant and kidnapped the EMH, Chief Medical Officer of the USS Voyager. As the exocomp's droid army attempts to flee the Borg-infested Delta Quadrant with their valuable hostage, 3 Jedi Knights lead a desperate mission to rescue the captive hologram, then rank our top 5 droids and artificial life forms. Hello everyone, welcome to another episode of TrekWars Duels Across the Stars. Ben, over to you. I've done the last few introductions.
Cool. Anyway, I'm Ben Carano, one of your intrepid hosts. Before we get on to our special guest, who hopefully you can see on YouTube, can we introduce our second co-host?
Which is me, Olympus. Good to see you all again. Thank you for jumping in. And our special guest star today.
Oh, hi. Yeah, that's me. Hi, everyone. I'm Arwyn. I'm so grateful to be here. I'm not sure what to say. So I am relatively new to live streams and podcasts and whatnot. I'm a player in one of Ben's Star Trek Adventures games, and very fortunate to have that. And I also do a live stream called Star Trek Aristotle, which you can see on. I'm a participant. It's not mine. It's this person called ELH, who's pretty well known in the Modiphius Star Trek Adventures community. But I'm grateful to be included in that. And we just started our second season. We recorded our first episode last night, and you can find that on YouTube and Twitch.
Fantastic. That sounds really exciting, actually. I'll give that a look.
Oh, yeah, it does, definitely. So, if we haven't mentioned already, we're going to be ranking our top 5 droids or artificial life forms from Star Trek and Star Wars. This is a friendly ranking of it to give us good conversations to have about both subjects. But before we do that, got any other comments, Olympus? Or
No. So it's one I've actually been really looking forward to. It was a great idea, and I took quite a bit of time sort of ranking up my top 5. I think I have them in ranked order, but as with my usual choices, I've ended up changing them around here and there, and I'm not 100% sure that the rankings of 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 are quite accurate, but I've locked them in for the last half an hour, so they're staying there. I guess we could talk about rules if we applied any. So for me, it had to be the relevant droids or artificial intelligence had to fit within a very vague construct in my head of what a droid or an artificial intelligence would be, which doesn't help you guys in the slightest, but that was in my head. As long as it made sense to me, that's what I went for. And I actually made a rule to keep it purely to Star Trek and Star Wars this time. I decided not to venture out. I almost did. I did have one choice in there, which will be one of my honourable mentions later on, which was outside of either franchise, but I ended up deciding to keep it within those two for once.
Oh, cool. Arwyn, did you make any rules for your picks, or?
I did, actually. So yeah, I had a couple criteria here. So the droid's design has to stand out to me in some way. The profile has to be iconic. Form has to follow function, arty kind of stuff. So that's my personal criteria. I have to love their personality. You have to really connect, and I have to relate to them in some way, because I was going through my list and I was finding some kind of a very meta thing, just thinking, oh yeah, why do I like this person? It's like, oh, because, or why do I like this droid? It's like, oh, because I see them in me, some aspect of them. So yeah, those are my criteria. I have stuck to Star Trek and Star Wars, but I may be cheeky and introduce in my honorable mentions one or two from other franchises.
Fantastic. Those are some great
Cool.
criteria as well. I'll take some inspiration from those for future episodes, I think.
Yeah, I wish I could say that I could see all these in me, but at least three of them are definitely not like me at all, and I'll let you all guess which ones they are. Uh, um, in my opinion, my picks had to have some sort of sentience or intelligence sort of thing. So, and I made sure they were all named characters, so I didn't go a generic one like I did with the ships uh, back a while back. Please look that up if you want to. Um, but yeah, no, that is my short rule system. Um,
Fantastic. So I guess, do we have anything else we want to cover off before we get into the choices, Ben? I cannot think of anything off the top of my head.
no, I think that's it.
Who would
We
like
can
to go
sort.
first then?
So, Arwyn, do you want to go first, being our guest?
Yeah, yeah, okay,
Put you on
yeah,
the
sure,
spot.
Well, we're going to throw you
sure,
straight into the
okay.
fire, Arwen.
You do. All right. All right, here we go. So my number five choice is from I can't. So I don't know when he actually premiered. I'm not that much of a SWAT where I know, like exactly where someone first appeared. But my first exposure to this droid was in the Bad Batch, and I think Ben is going to know which one I'm referring to here. Um, so AZI 3. I will show you a picture. Let's see here.
Ooh, I am curious about this one. I don't actually know this one, so
Oh,
Olympus, you got any
okay.
idea?
AZI3. I should know this because I've watched The Bad Batch, though I've not seen the latest episodes. Oh, I
Oh,
recognise him. He's a
yeah.
cutie.
So for you lot on Spotify, we've got a iPad image or tablet image of him. Do you want to describe or?
Well, he's tiny. He floats. He has anti-grav units instead of legs, and he's a medical droid, uh, a medical technician droid. And I guess I chose him because I like how compact he is, and I also like um, he's kind of easy to underestimate. He's really smart, but he's easily overlooked because he's relatively small. And I mean, most droids in Star Wars are overlooked anyway. Um, he's also really fussy. He's just very like I called him AZI 3, and he would just be like, no, it's AZI 3, blah 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 blah. Like he had like eight other digits after his name, and he would insist, even in the most ridiculously dangerous situations, that everyone call him that. They didn't do it, but he would still insist it, and I appreciated his integrity. Um, I liked his relationship with Omega. They had a cute little relationship together, and I liked how he maintained his compassion and his empathy in spite of being taken over at one point. His operations being taken over by the Imperials. Yeah, that's my choice. AZI 3.
Out of
Lovely.
curiosity, did you use somebody use that image in our Star Trek Adventures game as possibly the? Yes, I thought I recognised when you
Mhm.
showed me the picture. I went, hang on. Um,
Yeah, that's the prototype for Felix, or the
Felix,
the
yeah,
the basis for Felix.
yeah. So in our Star Trek Adventures game, we got a couple of droids. What are the droids called that Reno used on
The
Higher
kids.
Kids? Thank you. I keep forgetting that. And a couple. I know two of you put up, including you, put up some images potentially for the kits, and I know that was what. After looking at the picture, knowing that's one of them, it was just like,
Hmm.
ah, now I know why you said you probably recognise it.
Yeah, that's we used the kids as kind of a gateway to droids. Um, my character having a droid companion, a little droid assistant, being the engineer he is, uh, into Star Trek.
Oh, cool. You want to go next, Olympus, or do you want me to go next?
Oh, you go next. Go on, I'm eager to hear
Thank you.
your number 5.
Cool. I am going to the other franchise, and I am going with one from the short treks, and this is Harry Mudd's Androids from the Escape
Oh,
Artist. And and for those people who don't know, please go and watch it. It's a 15 minutes episode. It is on Paramount Plus, at least in the UK. Um, this is going to be basically a spoiler for it, so fast forward a little bit if you haven't watched this. But Harry Mudd, after appearing in Star Trek Discovery for the first season, got a short trek, and we found out that he was. Oh, he had a long list of things he'd done wrong, and he had a warrant out for his arrest, and somebody was sending out androids that look and thought that they were Harry Mudd, and were very convincing to everybody that it was Harry Mudd, including me when I first watched it, that it was Harry Mudd. And then this person who had not quite a bounty hunter, but usually had a thing against him, brought him to this Federation starship. Who went, "Oh, did you a woman, a tall woman, say this? Yeah, we've got more of those." And you find out that he's a droid who likes drinking sippers on the beach, um, and banally is that you find out this tall lady is Harry Mudd in disguise, making money, selling his droids onto people to collect the bounty on him, or they got the bounty from the person who was going to bring them in, who didn't actually get the bounty off the Federation. So, yeah, that's my picks.
it is a very, very clever episode, guys. Definitely go watch it if you haven't already. And yeah, everything Ben just said. It's just I love the twist, because you don't see it until the android sees the other android Muds, and then something clicks in his head and he starts glitching out. That's when you realise it's very, very cleverly done.
And cleverly brought up. That's an amazing reference. I'm just kind of like. I was wondering if we were going to duplicate. And I was like, how many droids could there be? But you just kind of rocked my world a little bit there, Ben. That was amazing.
Yeah. Oh, thank you. Yeah, so that's my pick, the Harry Mudd android from Escape Artist.
Thank you. I am going to go to a slightly recurring character from Star Trek Lower Decks, the one and only Peanut Hamper, who got an honourable mention in our crawl at the start of the episode. What I love about her first is she's got that classic exocomp design, but then painted in that beautiful science blue uniform style with the little delta on her side. So I thought her design from that perspective was lovely. But really what stands out for me were two things. One, her personality, from being sweet and kind and almost naive in a way, and then again, spoiler alert, if you guys haven't seen, or if anyone outside of obviously doing this just now hasn't seen this, please fast forward a bit. But to when she sort of turns around and betrays everyone and disappears into the ether when they need her to help save them, really shows off her selfish side, which and actually her nasty side, which is amazing to see in a droid of any kind, a droid with a proper personality like that. So she always stood out for me very well. The episode and the writing helped with that too, but yeah, she's a very feisty, energetic machine. And you see her in a subsequent episode in Lower Decks. In fact, 2. I've just realised there's a further 2 episodes in Lower Decks you see her. One with these very funny owl people. I'm going to call them. I won't ruin that episode, but that's fun. And again, you get similar twists where you almost think something's going to happen, then something else turns around and happens instead. And again, it's all focused around her character. And then she finally gets a little redemption arc in the last episode. You see her in I think it's season 3 of Lower Decks. I can't quite remember. I need to go back and double check.
4.
Season 4. Thank you, Ben.
Back in a minute.
So yes, that's my choice. The infamous peanut hamper, which is apparently the most perfect name in the galaxy.
Sounds like
mathematically perfect name. Yep.
Yep.
Reminds me of Ford Prefect from Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy. Make them fit in. Arwyn, any thoughts?
Just amazing choice. She's iconic. I'm trying to think of my favorite moments. I mean, even when you just talked about like, I was like, hey, I'm going to remove myself. I think I'm just going to remove myself from this sitch. Sucks to the organic. Peace.
Yes.
It's just amazing.
You could actually feel the sarcastic Vulcan salute as she beamed out.
Exactly. Yeah, good choice. Good choice.
Yeah,
no
I don't think she could have fitted in any other series other than Lower Decks, to be honest.
Agreed. And she fits in so well.
I agree with Arwyn. And actually, one thing I remember from an episode, which I'll bring it up again right after this, is a few badges more, which was you had gardening and such like with, was it? It's not Armis, was it, or something like Armis? That's like computer shaped thing who changes like from red to blue. So
played by Jeffrey Combs.
Oh, good point. Yes, it was. Yeah.
I was going to say something else that's gone out of my head. Never mind. I'll try and think of it again.
I'm trying to be careful because, on the one hand, I could just go crazy, but I'm trying to be light on spoilers. So
that's what I'm trying to do as well. It's quite difficult, isn't it? Because some of the series we talk about right now are quite new.
Right.
Yeah.
Well,
it's tough.
I will. If you're watching on YouTube, I will have links to skip to next picks. So, yeah, if you do find yourself getting spoiled, just have a look in the chat.
There you go, Ben rescuing us again. Thank you, mate. That was the other thing I was going to mention. That last peanut hamper episode. So a few more badges, I think it's called. You get, it's not an AI, but you do get that other recurring character, which I love. If you can call it a character, you get the koala appearing again. So I won't digress too much. But what is the koala? Why is he smiling? What does he know?
What is with that entrance room?
Indeed.
Yes. Yes.
No, I do like that. Yeah, definitely. And shall we skip back to Arwyn? Or?
Let's go for number 4. Arwyn, what have you picked, mate?
Number 4, yes. All right, so I am jumping from Star Wars to Star Trek.
Mm-hmm.
And this next choice is from one of my favorite Voyager episodes. And I think this choice for me is as much about how this AI revealed new interesting personality traits of one of the Voyager cast, as it is about how cool the AI was itself, I'm just gonna say who it is, and then I'll go further. So my choice is Prelor type automated unit 3947. And if anyone does not know who I'm talking about,
now I know.
Okay.
Yes. I'll let you describe that. But...
Yeah. So I just put up my my tablet, and it's so difficult. I'm not sure how to describe them. They look like spooky, featureless mannequins.
Mm-hmm.
And that's part of the reason I love them. So, how much do I want to say? Because this is going. It's fine. I'm just going to say it. When I was a little kid, I was super into classic Doctor Who, and there was a fourth Doctor serial called The Robots of Death. Um, and I think one of the reasons this resonates with me so much is the robots in The Robots of Death scared the bejesus out of me when I was a kid. And yeah, they're amazing. And these remind me a little bit aesthetically of the robots and the Robots of Death. So if anyone doesn't know the Robots of Death, it was a fourth Doctor serial that took place on a mostly automated strip mining sh- uh, uh, ship, land ship that basically just moved across this barren planet, and the robots, the humans on the ship just basically um, did nothing. They pushed a button once in a while, and all the robots did everything. And then, of course, as robots do, someone decided to reprogram them, and then horror ensued. Um, so they remind me of that a little bit. And in my head canon, I like to think that the Prelor and the Krennic units are the descendants of those robots in Robot of Death.
I like
Um,
that.
anyway, yeah, I just like their aesthetics. I like how creepy they are. I liked the evolution of 3947. I liked how that episode was introduced, from their perspective, floating out in space and then being beamed aboard, and just having Balana's, face like right in their face. I thought that was excellent direction, and I thought it was fascinating because it put the whole episode was, Balana's one of my favorite Voyager characters, probably my favorite, and the entire episode was about her. The first couple of seasons were just about, I'm half Klingon and I'm angry for no reason. Um, and you got to see that she was an amazing engineer, but you didn't really get to see much more of her personality related to engineering. And for me, this is why we got a little glimpse into her psyche. We got a little glimpse into her tinkering interest,
Yeah.
and her fascination with us. And then she was put in like this situation that an engineer you would think would never be put in like this ethical quandary. And I'm going into spoilers here, but it's been several years,
I was going to say Voyage is what, 20 years or so now?
20 years old.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, it ended in
So
2001, I think. Yeah,
yeah.
which
So
is only a couple of years ago.
just a couple, just a few.
Yeah, just
Yeah. Anyway, and it put her in this quandary. So yeah. What do you guys think of my choice?
oh no, I like it, and it did remind me. Was that silver, so like plated, so like head, or steel plated head? It did remind me of so like androids and robots from like early 1900s, like 20th century, so like robots, AI sort of thing, which is probably where I probably got it from something like the Doctor Who. Don't think I watched the episode, but yeah, no, I love it, and uh, yeah, no, love the pick and that conversation with Balana and her actually bringing up and knowing about Data as well.
Oh
In that
yes, the
one,
data name drop. Yeah.
yeah. So it's only a small name drop and a small thing in Voyager, but it's still like, oh, hang on, you mentioned something else from a previous show, which I
Hmm.
liked.
I'd
Oh, and
totally.
just
Oh, sorry,
go ahead.
after you, Aaron.
No, no, go ahead.
I was going to say, I'd totally forgotten about that episode until you showed me the picture of that android and it all came flooding back. Um, Funny, the first thing I thought of, because I'm not familiar with classic Doctor Who, but I am with modern Doctor Who, so from Chris Eccleston onwards, and right away reminded me a bit of the Autons. As soon as I
Yes,
saw them,
very
so I thought,
Altonish.
you know what? Yeah, I can definitely see that, and they were creepy in their own way. So love the pick, and as I said, it's reminded me of an element of Voyager I'd totally forgotten about.
Thank
Yeah,
you. Yeah, I like to keep you guys on your toes. Um, and just a last note, and I guess another reason why I love this so much is because when the years and years that I played Star Trek Online, I rock the heck out of that ship, the Prelor ship,
Yeah,
because that was amazing, and it's like, oh, missed opportunity. They could have had a whole system set and everything with the Prelor weapons, because they gave the Voyager a run for its money. They had to. they vastly underestimated how powerful they were, and Voyager had to run away, for a little
Yeah.
while and regroup. If you remember the episode. So yeah, I think they're amazing.
Yeah, good choice.
Thank you.
If you don't mind, I'll go into my pick 4.
Go on then, Ben. What have you got?
Yeah, and I'm going to pick up a episode that we mentioned earlier, a few badges more, and I will actually go with Badgie himself. So the yellow Delta badge that was used originally as a guide that was to help Tilly learn, not Tilly. I've had a complete mind blank on names here. To
Tendi.
help Tindy, yeah. Please, it was the TI, and I just went Tilly. I don't know why. Tindy, yeah. With her spacewalking, and then it.
Oh, the
That's
screens. Why is the screen doing that? That's so. Come on, how do we
yeah.
get this to focus?
So,
We'll go closer.
for you guys on
There
YouTube,
you go.
on Spotify, we got the image on YouTube. But yeah, great character, very cheerful to start with, and then actually after getting Rutherford losing his temper with this hologram he created because it was glitching and taking its time loading. It's got the loading bar on it, and it's like froze. It's like hit it, and then it's like you could see this. It like this image in its face and its mouth going. I'm resisting using it because he hit me, and then when this glitch happened with this ship, it was like there was a Cerrito. It suddenly went completely glitched, and he went very baddie on this into like full on cheerful anti, not even anti-hero, just a hit a evil thing. Then yeah, he sort of gets his another, not quite a breakthrough, but ends up turning out good in eventually in a few matches more where Rutherford gave him a hug, actually turned into a good and a bad, and then eventually he came into a, what's it called?
The koala got involved.
Sorry?
The koala got involved.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah. That's it. Yeah, it just became a very big corporeal entity and decided it wanted to create its own universe and go and talk with Q as well. So, yeah.
Can I teach you a lesson?
Yeah.
Love Badgie.
Definitely.
He's just this cute, super creepy little AI. I love him.
Yeah. It's like, are you going to kill me? I'm Badgie. Not an answer.
Yeah, and I presume you all remember the paper clip from one of the Windows programs many years ago. Yeah, it's whoever came up with it, that even if it was accidentally, that it's a glorified paperclip from Windows that irritated the living daylights out of everybody, despite pretending to be friendly and helpful.
The difference is this paperclip wants to kill you and wear your skin. That's another quote.
Yeah. Definitely. Sorry, any other thoughts other than what you've said already?
No, just what a lovely choice. I said he's super cute and super sadistic. Perfect character for Lower Decks.
Yeah.
Oh, absolutely. And I'll just add on, I thought it was so many clever uses. But the particular thing I'm thinking about is the Discovery reference they used, the subtle Discovery reference they made when they split Badgie into Goodgie. I think it was Goodgie.
It was
and
Goodgie. And Logicy, yeah.
And first of all, the play on words between Badgie, and Goodgie, hysterical, and Logicy. But also, when they split them, they went from the old division coloring that was present in Discovery, with it was like the gold for command and the copper for engineering and the silver for the sciences with their badges.
I never even noticed that.
Yes, they did that.
Wow.
Oh,
So amazing little Easter egg there, Discovery Easter egg.
oh.
I'm going to rewatch that tonight. That's
Yeah.
amazing.
No, it's something I missed as well, and I'm gonna have to have a relook at Discovery was the badges now. Yeah, good pick. Anyway, Olympus. What is your number four pick?
Die Meatbags is HK47 from.
I'm glad somebody.
Oh, I had to pick him. He's and I'm just sorry he's number 4 because he could easily have been number 1. To be honest, I spent so much of my childhood playing Knights of the Old Republic and Knights of the Old Republic 2, and his quirky one-liners, his little bit of backstory you got out of him while you were repairing him at different points during your story. Just he's a very lovely, fleshed out, very uniquely designed robot droid. And yeah, he was part of what really made KOTOR very special for me. And then you get to see him return in Star Wars The Old Republic, albeit you have to fight him, which was sad. So I was like both happy and sad at the same time, tears in my eyes while I'm battling him during that flashpoint. But yeah,
I remember what that flashpoint was called, and I cannot remember.
It was one that led to us releasing Revan. Spoiler alert, but again, that game's like 12 years old now, so...
Yeah, they've had about 4 or 5 4 expansions since then, I think.
Oh,
3.
more than that, probably. But yeah, he's I call him lovable. He's an assassin droid. He's out to kill. He's always got an ulterior motive behind him. But again, very sassy and full of character for a droid. And yeah, I love his design. They've taken that C-3PO style design and made it sleeker, sharper, but also made it look older. And equally made it look a bit more deadly as well. He is an assassin droid after all. I just love the creativity that went into making him. So yeah, that's my number 4.
Oh, cool! I'm glad you picked that. I didn't play KOTOR, but I was aware of him, and I did meet him in the SWTOR game, but yeah, don't know much about him. Arwyn?
Oh, yeah, I was just what you said, Columbus, about it resonated with me with tearing up during that um, encounter. I forget what they were called.
Yeah,
It's been so long since I played Old Republic.
Flashpoint. Was it a Flashpoint?
Flashpoint.
It was
Yes.
a flashpoint, yeah.
Yeah. So I have similar emotions. Brings up a lot of nostalgia for childhood, and there was this big debate my husband and I were having. It was just kind of like, is it voiced by John Billingsley? No. Yes, because it sounds so much like Phlox from Star Trek, but it wasn't actually him. Yeah, just he was a super cool droid. Good choice. I suspected he was going to show up at least one of our choices.
He's too iconic not to, isn't he?
No, absolutely. Good choice. Well done.
Thank you. Brilliant. Right, Arwyn, you're number 3.
So my number 3, speaking of iconic, jumping back to Star Wars, this droid probably had the second most jaw-dropping moment for me, or just I remember when I first saw this droid, and I'll just say who he is. BB-8. BB-8.
I like it.
I'm not even going to show a picture of him because, BB-8. I remember there was when Disney bought all the Star Wars properties, and they had this big, I forget if it was a convention or something. They had this big launch that they were going to talk about the next movies, and they were going to talk about Rey and all that. And they had C-3PO, someone dressed as C-3PO, wander up onto the stage, and there was all these fans everywhere. And it was a black stage and black everything, and then C-3PO and everyone cheers, and that's great. And then suddenly, not R2D2, this this sphere with another oval headpiece attached to it somehow, by magic. It seemed like magic, rolled out behind him on its own power, and you could have dropped a pin in that theater. Everyone was just like their jaws were hitting the floor. It was like, what? Can you believe this? Yeah, he. I'll never forget that. That was like the coolest thing. Um, I didn't think that was possible, and I'm sure there's techie people out there who might be listening to this were like, well, actually, it's like, yeah, okay, great. That could have happened. I did not know that could have happened, and I was just completely flummoxed and pleasantly surprised. So that was a really neat thing, and I loved him in the films. I love his design. His sound effects are really cool. The little chirps and stuff he makes are super cool.
Yep.
Oh, great.
Very spirited droid. I think that's a common thing in most of my droids is they're all spirited. Oh, and we both love Poe Dameron, though I suspect in different ways. Or maybe, I don't know. But yeah, that's BB-8. I love him. I think he's amazing. That's my number 3 choice.
And there's one that I ended up. He was in my honourable mentions. I ended up taking him out of my top 5. I'm so glad someone else put him in because he's so cute. He's adorable. Again, you said about the chirps. They just brightened it up. They brightened everything up. And he is part of the sequels that I absolutely adored.
Yeah, and I remember his interactions when he first meets Ray. That period when they're chatting to each other. It's just like, and she's alters his antennae as well, and it's just like, yeah, I absolutely love that time, and yeah, I'm glad they got a different shape in it, and I don't think it ruined it doing another random shape, but I loved the character. It's
I also found it amazing how they got so much character out of a sphere. That's just really what it is. And they got so much character and almost, I'd say, emotion and enthusiasm out of a ball. Brilliant.
Right. Absolutely. And it's carried on. Like he is others. Like he was in Star Wars Resistance. I don't know if either of you have seen that.
I've not seen it, but I know of it.
And some other, lots of other droids. Suddenly, the New Order had the BB version, the evil VV version. Just put something in black and suddenly it's evil.
Yeah. Give it a British accent as well. Evil.
Yes, exactly. British accent.
Yeah,
black,
it was a British
evil.
beep. Yeah.
Yes, that was a British beep.
Love it.
Yeah.
How about you, Ben? What's your number?
Number 3.
Oh, and this time I'm going to go to another hologram. This time it is going to be Dr. Moriarty from Star Trek TNG and sort of Picard, and it's just like, for those who haven't watched it, but he appears when Data and Geordie LaForge do a Doctor. Well, I was about to say Dr. Watson, and I'm missing the big person here out of the Sherlock Holmes, and it was just like the Sherlock Holmes episode, and basically the Forge goes, I want to complete a program that could outwit Data, and basically it turned Dr. Moriarty, Holmes's greatest rival, into actually Data's greatest rival, and there's still probably arguments here whether he's completely sentient or not, but he was a great character, and it's just like I just like that it was uniquely it was Dr. Moriarty and something unique in itself as well for Star Trek. And before I completely lose track, any other thoughts while I'm Like,
Oh,
really getting behind this.
I'm kicking myself for forgetting about him. That came from one of my favorite episodes of TNG. Yeah, I'm kicking myself. He should have been in my top 5. In my head canon, he is 100% sentient. I love the scientific reasoning behind how it all happened and how he came into being. I love that he's a recurring character in TNG as well. He pops up at least one at a time, which is a much later season, I think. And you get the whole, hang on a minute, why didn't you follow through? And then, the hype that I got watching the trailers for Picard Season 3 and seeing Moriarty appear out of the shadows was unreal. Just what an excellent choice. Thank you for picking him.
Oh. Any other thoughts before I start doing the same as Olympus and enjoying it too much?
I don't think anyone else but that actor could have pulled that off. I can't imagine. Well, I'll say this: I can't imagine anyone else in that role.
Yes,
other than that actor, and the fact that they were able to get him back for Picard was a real get. I thought, and just and how Barclay was used in the follow-up episodes.
Just cleaning out
His
the whole
interactions were so good, and I didn't think you could really build on the whole first to second season Pulaski episode with Pulaski being kidnapped, and I'm like, well, you know what, that's said and done, but they somehow managed to inject new life and a new level of threat each time with that character. So I applaud that choice too. Yeah.
And that he made a new holodeck inside a holodeck sort of thing, and
so creative.
It was incredible.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And to be honest, thinking about Barclay, I would do exactly the same as what he did right at the end. It's like holodeck close program, just to double check.
I still do that sometimes.
Fair enough.
That actually just reminds me of that episode of Strange New Worlds, where they have the crossover with Lower Decks, and Boimler wakes up on the hospital bed and he sits up and he's like, "Computer end program? Oh, okay."
That was a great moment.
Oh, yeah, great. Oh, I wish I could fix something from Strange New Worlds in here, this one, but...
I know, right? Okay, my number 3 now, I guess. I've got a model for this one. This is one that comes from a Star Wars... Well, 2 Star Wars video games now.
Got me intrigued.
Yeah, right?
Yeah. Oh, I know. Drum roll. Drum roll.
I built him from scratch.
Oh...
And I'm struggling to hold him. There we go. This is BD1, Cal Kestis's amazing little companion. He is, for anyone who's listening on Spotify, he is a gorgeous, cute little droid. In my head canon, this is life size. He feels life size to me. He's a bit boxy. He's got this very small boxy body. He's got a kind of rectangular boxy head, and he's legs. He's all legs, but he's super cute. And again, for something that is not a lot to him, he just portrays so much personality and zest and life and energy in everything he does with Cal. Probably my favourite character in the Star Wars Jedi series, I must say. He is absolutely gorgeous. So he has pride of place. You can just see a corner of my glass cabinet off in the background. He's got pride of place there. He sits literally on the shelf that's directly next to where I sit for doing my work, because I work from home. So he's watching me while I work, and his head even twists and moves around. And I think his stims are in here somewhere too. Let's see if I can find them. How do you open them up? Here we go. They're in here. I thought they were in here. How do they open?
So
there you
trying
go.
to open up the side of his head at the moment.
Yep, there you are. For anyone on Spotify, it actually opens up, and there's little canisters in there for his what do you call it? Stims that he gives to heal Cal. It does open up further than that, but I'm not going to in case I break him. It took several days to build this guy, but yeah, super cute. Love him to pieces.
Oh, yeah. Love it. I haven't played that game, and I've only watched it once with actually Olympus playing the game on his Twitch channel, which he will mention at the end, I'm sure. But
Yes.
yeah, um, but there I've got a version in SWTOR, and again bringing up Star Wars: The Old Republic. There's a version of it in there. Love it. Arwyn, any thoughts?
Uh, just that I'm annoyed that I forgot about him completely. I I have not played that either, but I have watched probably more than as healthy number of hours of other people playing those games, and he's a standout. Just I love his movement. I love the way he just moves around, kind of like a monkey, crawling over a Cal Kestis at different times, and just a great little character. So, and I'm hoping maybe this has happened already, that that character or other droids like him will start appearing in follow-up series.
I'm hoping so. I know. In fact, I might have to double check this, but I am pretty sure there is a BD droid that you see or is mentioned in The Mandalorian season 2 or 3.
Oh,
It's with the the woman engineer slash junker slash person. The
Oh,
place on
right,
yeah,
Amy
Tatooine.
Sedaris.
That yeah, I think that's her eye.
Yeah.
Um, he's with her. So I don't think it's BD1, but it's definitely a BD droid. The more I think about it, the more it was him. So yes, he has already made his live action debut.
oh,
Okay, well remembered. I'll have to look at that again.
I have to pay more attention next time. I'm gonna rewatch through that. If there's any other thoughts, shall we go back to our number two pick with Arwen?
Oh, that's me. Yes. Okay. Um, so for individuals who are listening to this through Spotify, I am terrible at describing things, and I'm just going to do my best here. But my number two choice, also from Star Wars, uh, I I loved this character ever since he showed up on Clone Wars,
I know who it is.
and and yeah, he was almost my number one. He was almost my number one. Um, it is, of course, the one and only Hu Yang.
Yeah.
So Hu Yang, and
Good choice.
I have props too.
Oh
Hey.
yes, he's gorgeous. Look at him.
So Hu Yang is a humanoid. It's an android robot or android droid, and I just don't know how to describe him. He looks very archivist-y. Um, he has a little tool belt, a little leather tool belt, and he has two supplementary arms that come out of his back that fold up. He has a little magnifying glass, although why a droid needs a magnifying glass, I don't know. But I'm not going to question it because he's awesome. And oh, uh-oh, two of them came off.
Oh,
It's
oh,
okay. I'll
disaster!
stack them
It's
easily
called to
enough.
bits.
It's easy.
He
It's
is
just
very old, to be fair, Hu Yang.
well, true. He is over 25,000 years old. So I looked that up. Thank you to Wikipedia and all the dedicated people who keep that updated. Um, yeah, I mean, he's David Tennant for God's sakes. I mean,
Exactly.
how much more do I need to say? He's bristly, he's forthright. He doesn't put up with any kind of gaff. I don't know what gaff is, but he doesn't put up with it. And he is just brutal in his honesty, but there's a kindness that comes through too that just he's amazing. And I will say one more thing. Um, I think it's fascinating that this character. So the Jedi are all about connecting with the natural world, right? Connecting with the One Force, and Lucas has promoted this nature over technology kind of theme throughout. It's been argued that he has that bent in all the Star Wars films. So I really think it's fascinating that we have a character in Hu Yang. The Jedi focus so much on nature, but yet the only thing really left of the Jedi is um, his archive of all the Jedi knowledge, of all the lightsaber knowledge, and he was there. I mean, he witnessed the birth of the Jedi. Well, soon after the birth of the Jedi, according to Wikipedia. Again, don't come at me, people. I don't know this for real. Um, yeah, I just think it's an interesting little ironic juxtaposition that it's this piece of technology that could be the key to the relaunching of the Jedi.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely.
What, what about you? What about you two? What are your thoughts?
Oh, I am so glad you picked him. There's too much to say about. I mean, you've said so much already, so I'm going to try and keep this concise for now. One of my favorite all-time characters in Star Wars. David Tennant is one of my all-time favorite actors. He is my favorite Doctor. And another little tidbit for anyone who was not aware: David Tennant, the Doctor who plays Hu Yang. Hu Yang, it is told, arrived at the Jedi Temple inside a blue box. I mean, how much more Doctor Who reference do you need than that?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, love that.
I love his. Sorry, Ben. I absolutely love his relationship with Ahsoka that you see in the Ahsoka series. Now, again, that's brand new, so I'm not going to say too much about it. But you really learn a lot more about Hu Yang from a character perspective, I guess, through that. I feel like you connect to him a little bit more in that series, but in particular, just the relationship, the bouncing off you see between him and Ahsoka. Ahsoka very clearly cares about him. He very clearly cares about her. And I think you're right, Arwyn. I think he's going to be absolutely pivotal to the rebirth of the Jedi. I would not be surprised with the recently announced new movie starring Rey as a Jedi Master. I would not be surprised to find Hu Yang at that temple, kicking it all off again.
That would be nice to see. And
Agreed.
actually, when you Arwen said how old he is, I think they have got ideas of older films in mind from when I say older, from an older time period. And I'm thinking it would be nice to actually see him in a appearance in a different time period. It's like many years from
Like
first.
Star Wars: The Old Republic. There's absolutely no reason why he
example.
should not appear in that right away.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
He
and
was
I will say
around.
too, you talked about Place of Pride. He appears in A Place of Pride on my bookshelf, and he is always placed directly in front of my police box TARDIS
Love it.
that is on that bookshelf.
Brilliant.
Yeah, good pick. I just love that one.
Who's next?
Ben, you're number 2.
And actually, my second favourite is also somebody else who speaks what comes into their circuits. And probably for some people who have been paying attention was my top 3 films and my one-off prequel scenes. It is my top 2 pick is, or my number 2 pick is K2SO from Rogue One, which is, I find...
I knew it.
He's so
Yeah.
funny.
Yeah. It's the funny. It's not overbearing funny. He's I just love the character. He's a reprogrammed Imperial droid. The lanky legs and the lanky arms just stand out. A slightly different droid. Yeah, yeah. Again, his 1-9s are great. His introductions made me laugh so much, and unfortunately his death scene was again iconic. It was sad. It I find it more difficult to try to describe all his other bits, but it's just like how he makes me feel. But he's really a really nice, interesting droid. And Any other thoughts, guys?
I can't add anything more than that. He was a big part in the Rogue One movie. Without him, there'd have been a big loss, and it would have felt a lot more flat to me after the second watch through. Anyone who's listened and watched these previously, a couple of times now it's come up that the first time I ever watched Rogue One, because it had been hyped up so much for me and I was so eager for it, and it felt completely flat. But watching it back a year later, I actually really appreciated it. It's one of my favourite Star Wars movies. He's a big part of that. Without that droid, that chemistry that they create would not have been complete.
Yeah, definitely adds some.
No.
Arwyn.
No, I would go ahead.
I was about to say, yeah, he does add that chemistry between Andor and. I'm having another one of those moments where I'm mind blanking on simple names, Jinner. So it's that chemistry between the three of them. It's just so spot on. It's he almost like pulls those two together in a fun way. It's the glue between the two of them.
He was the glue, wasn't he?
Oh yeah,
that's a good observation. And something else, the frame for that droid is terrifying, absolutely terrifying. And to have Alan Tudyk play this character in such a sarcastic kind of, sarcastic but caring kind of way is great. So he was in Andor as well. Or not him, but that droid was an Andor as well, and I won't say too much more. But it was used to terrifying effect, I thought. Just to comment on police brutality and everything, and amazing. And also, I don't know if you've seen Star Trek Visions or not, but the current season of Star Trek Vision, it's amazing. I love it. There's the second season of Visions. They invited different animation companies from around the world to contribute Star Wars stories. And there was this French company that contributed this story that used that droid in that frame to terrifying effect as well. So amazing. Just good choice. No notes.
I have to have a look at that. Yeah.
I'll give them a watch, definitely.
Yeah, no, agree. I would do the same. To be honest, I don't have much to add to that other than Great Droid K2SO is my number 2 pick.
On to my number 2.
Come on, Columbus. Wow us.
He has been number 1. So he's been switching with my number 1 all day and all night. Up until I locked it in. And since then I've been wanting to move him back up to number 1. But I'm not going to. Because I locked it. It's from Star Trek. No, I'm not changing it. I'm not changing it. Data.
Yay.
Has to be Data. Star Trek Next Generation is my favourite my favourite Star Trek show. It's the one I grew up with, and Data is one of my favourite characters in it, and the fact he features so much and so nicely in the first and third seasons of Picard as well is very nice for me. His whole being and his whole purpose throughout those seasons of TNG, focusing on how to be as human as possible and experience humanity, really brought a lot of scenes and a lot of storylines to life. And I think, I'm trying to think of the right way to say it, but he really reflected humanity in that show. Most of the time simply by being himself. The moments when he wasn't really trying were the moments that he really actually got it and understood it, which is ironic in a sense. But Brent Spiner again as well, absolutely phenomenal actor playing him. I don't think anyone else could have pulled it off the way that he did, especially when you had different characters coming on the scene like Lore before, Soong 2, Soong 3, Soong 4, Soong 5. I could keep going. I've lost track of how many different Dr. Soongs we've had now. He is Data, and he's brilliant. And the last thing I'd probably comment on is his relationship with Picard. I'd say he makes Picard a better person. I mean, Picard was brilliant to begin with, but that relationship they have definitely complements each other very, very well throughout the series and into the movies too. Which also leads me to another bit. His friendship, very close friendship with Geordie LaForge, again played beautifully throughout the series. Beautiful points in some movies, and I think it's one of the bits that really let Nemesis down. Was that lack of reaction with Geordie at the end, which I know from what I've read and whatnot, the cast wanted that kind of thing in there, and it didn't happen. And then that leads me to Spot, Data's cat. And I'll stop there because I'm rambling now. But oh my god, his relationship with his cat is beautiful too, and funny in a lot of different ways. And that's me starting to talk about cats rather than androids. Yeah. So
I will continue as a cat theme. The funny bits also involved Worf and Spot as well in TNT. Love that. Yeah.
What's your favorite Data moment, Columbus?
Oh, now you're asking. One of the first, it might not be my absolute favourite, but one of the first ones whenever someone asks me that come to mind is The Naked Now. So like season 1, episode 2, basically, with Tasha. When Tasha gets into her outfit and lures him into her bedroom for you know what. And actually a kind of heartbreaking and loving moment at the same time happens a couple of times after Tasha dies. There's a couple of times he's got a hollow of Tasha that he keeps in his desk, on his desk in different, you see it a few times, and every time you see it is a very poignant moment for him, and it really hits home that as much as he doesn't have emotions, he really cared about her in his own way. So I'd say those two really, really stand out for me. There are so many though. I mean, him playing Sherlock is second to none. Him trying to do jokes. There was an episode where he's trying to learn how to do jokes, and he's standing there with a cigar in his fingers, doing this whole like back and forward, back and forward, back and forward, trying to mimic this and just not getting it. Yeah, I could go on and on and on. What about yours? No. Do you guys have any favourite moments of Data?
Oh, go on, Arwyn. You look like you ready to go.
Oh, there. I do. I have so many. And I just want to comment on what you said about how he made Picard better. He made all that cast better.
Yeah.
You know, his earnestness and his innocence, just amazing. So my favorite moments were, so he's eminently quotable, right? You know, and actually, this isn't his quote, but it's something I still say to this day. It's something I think about, is when he lost his confidence in the second season, and Picard, he holed up in his room, and he's like, took himself off duty, and Picard had to come in and set him straight, and was just kind of like, you know what, sometimes in life you can do all the right things and you still fail. That's not a weakness, it's just life.
Yeah.
And that was brilliant. I loved his moments with Troy. There was this moment in Tin Man at the end when they were staring out of one of the windows portholes. I don't know what they're called on the starship. And he was explaining how he saw Tam Elbrum, how loneliness and isolation was transformed into togetherness and joy. And I thought, wow. And Troy was like, wow, you do get it. But I will say, and this is a personal thing, me being a therapist for so long before I left the profession, was when he chose to be psychoanalyzed by Sigmund Freud, instead of going to Deanna. And he stood up, looked Sigmund Freud straight in the eye, and was like, I don't think I'm being helped by this session. That was amazing. That just blew my mind. I was like, yes, Dave.
Yeah.
That was great.
Yeah.
What about you, Ben?
Oh, just thinking of a couple of, again, the ones from Elementary, My Dear Data, which we mentioned earlier. It was like several moments in that. It was just like no, God, I can't think of specific ones, but when he doesn't actually know it, but when he actually solves the problem and actually manages to defeat Moriarty by getting everybody else to help him and working as a team, uh, defeating Moriarty in a way, uh, that was good. There was another one when he was taken hostage by uh, a collector who I should remember his name now. Force
Evos
or
Farjo.
something. Farjo, that was I knew something was F. He was seen where he actually just stripped himself off and just stood there and didn't interact and went, "Who can play this game sort of thing? If you're going to hold me hostage, I'm not going to play." Oh, and
Good
actually,
choice.
yeah, that one's a good one as well. Yeah, and yeah, very good character data and love him as a character. Brilliant.
The last one for me, sorry, that I've just remembered, and it's the scene that leads him to decide to try and install the emotion chip in Star Trek Generations, when they've just promoted Worf. He manages to do what no one else has done before and grab the hat off of the mask
Just above the
without
plank.
falling, sticks it on his head, and Riker yells, "Computer, remove the plank," and he just drops into the ocean. Picard's like, "That's retract plank, not remove plank." And Data's like, "Why is this funny, Geordie? What's this funny?" And Geordie explains that that's just how sometimes humour works. And he goes, "Oh, got it." And then he smiles at Beverly. Push. And then she goes, and Joy's like, "Data, that was not funny." Just again, it epitomizes Data's constant struggle to understand humanity and understand. I think he says in several episodes and movies as well, like humor is probably the most complex thing for him to get, which can be understandable for a lot of us as well. Normally, can't it? I mean, there's plenty of times when someone's being humorous in one way that I'm around and I'm not quite understanding their level of humor. It's happened to me before. Diff people, I guess, work on different levels when it comes to humor, and some people can take it up very easily and other people can't. So it's an element I've sometimes related to Data with.
I get that. Definitely get that. Good pick.
Yes, now on to number one, Arwyn.
All right. So my number one. Boy, what to say? Uh, so as much as I love Hu Yang, uh, this one has to be my number one. Also from Star Wars. Um, and he's the character that sparked my imagination as a kid when I first saw the original series or the episode 4. Um, it has to be C3PO. C3PO has to be my number one, and I
Choice.
know he's the butt of the jokes and everything. And some people out there might be thinking, why C3PO? But he's iconic. As a little queer kid, he's queer coded, and I just attached to him. He's fussy like I am, very particular. Um, he loves millions of languages, and I was just starting to have interest in different languages myself as a kid, and just to see that on screen was amazing. And the fact that he was like Princess Leia's BFF, and was in the upper echelons of royalty, and he was so shiny. I don't know. There was just he always is going to be. He was what drew me into more than anything else. All the other awesome stuff in Episode 4. He is what drew me into Star Wars, and part of the reason why I'm still here to this day. So I have
Oh,
to say C3PO.
oh, he is a great character. And talking about humour, somebody who doesn't know he's got humour, like a Vulcan, he has got a good sense of humour. Actually, I think in that one, and
Mm-hmm.
managed to sort of yeah no. Yeah, no, I'm trying to be specific here, but I just like him, just generally a well-rounded character in my her opinion. Uh,
He's
actually, one
on you go, Ben.
no, actually, one thing I'm glad they didn't mention. Actually, they brought up in was it the Last Jedi or Force Awakens. He had a red arm for random reason, and it's like it was just one of those storylines where it's like he's got a red arm. It's like why, and then it's like you just don't find out. I'm just curious that it's just one of those ones to make you think.
Somehow his arm got replaced.
Yeah.
Just like somehow the Emperor returned.
Oh, somehow Palpatine returned.
Yeah.
Yeah, and just he's so like everyone's so heroic, and he's just kind of dragged along, for the ride, and he's heroic in his own way, and I love
Yeah.
that about him. He's not afraid to be panicky. He is panicky, and probably once in a while he actually makes some sense, and even though what they're doing is very dangerous, and it's just nice to have someone who's unconsciously funny.
Yeah.
Um, so thank you for saying that, Ben. That's true. That's a very good point.
Any thoughts, Olympus?
He is a Star Wars icon. What an awesome
Oh,
choice. Yeah. When we talk about characters who are memorable, unique, iconic, he fits. He fits every single one of those boxes and more. Beautiful pick.
Thank you.
Yeah.
How about you,
Yeah,
Ben?
no. I am going to go to a different franchise on this one, and I'm going to go again to Star Trek Voyager, and this time I'm going to go with somebody we've sort of mentioned already, but not the same version. I'm going to go with the Doctor, aka the EMH, uh, uh, played by Robert Picardo. A great character from Ian. Just the emergency metal hologram was just a few photons to, and his development over the 7 seasons is brilliant, and his endeavour to learn new things, new experiences, explore the universe is one of the reasons why he I picked him, and his relationships with everybody from Kez to Seven, even Tom Paris, Janeway. I just love the character, and his learning experience throughout the series. Yeah, and again, it also helped that he was well acted by Robert Picardo, in my opinion.
Mm-hmm.
Sorry. Any other thoughts? Because I
What
think
a
I summed it
choice.
up there.
No, what a choice. We get a lot of the words on the tip of my tongue. I was just thinking about it. It's gone away. We get a lot of not questionable scenarios. Dang, it's gone out of my head. Those scenarios where this is going to sound really daft now. Those scenarios, ethical, where we get a lot of ethical scenarios and questionable scenarios along that sense with him, particularly regarding his sentience. Is he a person? Is he not a person? That comes up quite a bit, and I love the evolution of the crew's perspective of that with his character as it progresses. So it's not just his character himself that progresses, but also you see their perception of him changing and evolving over time, because right at the start they see him as a tool and nothing else but a tool, and you get a couple of very clear episodes where that's directly challenged, and the majority of the other ones where it's indirectly challenged, and you get to a point where he is considered part of the crew, and they couldn't consider leaving him behind. Whereas I think there's an early season 1 episode where they would quite happily just leave him alone and just jump off. In fact, I think there's one point, if I remember right, where Kez turns up to say goodbye to him, and no one else had even bothered to go in and say anything to him, the captain included. So to see it change from that to him being an integral member of the crew it was beautiful storytelling. And Robert Picardo, phenomenal. Again, he's one of those actors that I don't think anyone else could have pulled that character off.
And I think it's in the same episode. I can't remember which one it was, but when Kez went to the captain and went, I think it was Kez, or was this a 7 episode as well? I can't remember, but saying that, yeah, why is he treated differently? Isn't he? He's doing the same thing as we are all doing. I can have a conversation with him, sort of thing. I'm paraphrasing here, but
No, I do
yeah,
remember that. I think it's the same episode.
yeah, um, yeah, and yeah, absolutely, yeah, love that Conjurer as well. And I really, really wish the episode author, where he was saying made the story about his experience, was done a bit earlier. So like one of the earlier episodes, like season 4 or 5, or, sorry, season 3, 2 or 3, maybe season 4, where it would have made more sense. But I think the point was still there.
Yeah, agreed. What do
Arwyn,
you
any
think,
thoughts?
Owen?
Yeah, I was trying to figure out what I wanted to say here. Obviously, Robert Picardo, tour de force as of an actor. I agree. I can't imagine anyone else in that role. Um, there's so many great moments. I think the one that's sticking out to me the most at the moment, and this might be a little bit of a hot take. Uh, he was, if I recall correctly, he was the only one who stood up for Tuvix.
Ooh,
You know, I don't know if that's true, but he was certainly like, when Janeway was ready to do it, he was like, nah, tools down. Uh-uh.
yeah.
I'm not doing it. And that to me, I thought was amazing.
I Unfortunately I don't remember. I remember the general outline of Tuvix and Janeway walking him to the transporter, but uh, oh,
I do
good
remember.
question.
Yeah, I vaguely remember the episode. I do remember the Doctor standing up and saying no, because it's the first time I thought a hologram disobeying an input. Essentially, it's a computer. You've typed the computer saying do this. You expect it to respond with here you go, and he didn't. It was one of the first times that I looked at his character and went, yeah, unique, and autonomous, and what do you call it? See, I'm losing my English now. Sentient.
Yeah, he really stuck his neck out there. It was a badass moment.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
No, lovely. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Situations like that, uh, and the one where he went down to this. Actually, I don't think it was down to a planet. It was a space station or something just above the planet where they had this hospital where everybody was getting treated differently depending on how they lived out. Uh, for argument's sake, the government thought they were uh, importance to society, uh, and his performance there, okay, was brilliant, really well written episode as well. But the performance, his morals there, and how he dealt with that was great. I think. But yeah, actually, that's an episode I really want to talk about actually, and get opinions about, especially from Americans. But that's a story for another day, and we could spend ages
We
on
could
that.
probably do an entire episode alone on that.
One.
I
Yeah.
will keep my mouth shut for the moment about that.
Awesome. Well,
Sure.
my number one
Yes,
is
I
going
feel
to
like
be.
we need a drum roll.
It's
You
going to
know.
be very, very short and sweet because we've already had it.
Oh,
Oh.
a first repeat answer.
Our first repeat answer is the last one. The one, the only, Hu Yang. One of us got into number one.
Yeah.
There is very little extra that I can say that we haven't already said, so I'm not going to. I'm just going to say everything we said previously. Stands phenomenal character. I loved him in Clone Wars, but he really came to life for me in the Ahsoka series. So if you haven't seen the Ahsoka series, please go onto Disney Plus and give that a watch. It's very, very good. And Hu Yang really comes into his own in it.
Yeah. Well, my first experience was through Ahsoka because I hadn't watched the cartoons. or most of the cartoon series on Star Wars. When I came across him in Ahsoka, and yeah, I love the character there and his interaction with everybody there, and almost saying what comes into a circuit sort of thing, but not quite as on the nose as K2SO, but nearly there.
He's got a little bit of that
Sorry.
Jedi pose to him, doesn't he? He's able to hold back slightly.
Yeah. So, any additional
Sorry to
thoughts, sir?
No, I'm just sorry to have stolen some of your thunder. I'm surprised it didn't happen more, but
I'm surprised it didn't happen more. I was expecting there'd be quite a few overlaps, and I'm pretty amazed there was only one. There was no
Yeah.
There
stealing
is.
of thunder, honestly.
Oh
Okay,
God, there,
I'm glad to hear that.
there's one character I'm thinking would overlap, but before we go on to that, I'm thinking, shall we do a? Oh, yeah, let's do a roundup. I'll go into scores, and then we'll do honourable mentions. I think, shall we?
Sounds good.
Or shall we do it in the same order that we've been going already?
Yeah, yeah. Arwyn, do you want to just give us number 5 up to number 1, just a list of who you picked?
Oh, right. So number 5 is from the Star Wars franchise, and it is AZI-3. Number 4 was from Star Trek, the Prelor type automated unit 3947. And it's funny how you just automatically get into that cadence when you say that, because I just picture their voice in my head.
Yep.
Number 3 was from Star Wars, BB-8. Number 2 was Hu Yang, but only by a sliver. And number 1 was my boy C3PO.
Cool, good pick. Um, I'm gonna go with my number 5 pick, Harry Mudd's android from Escape Artist, and at number 4, Badgie, and then at number 3, Dr. Moriarty, then at number 2, K2SO, then at number 1, the Doctor himself, the EMH, Olympus.
Lovely. So my number 5 from Star Trek Lower Decks is Peanut Tamper. At number 4 from Star Wars, specifically Knights of the Old Republic game series, is HK-47. At number 3, staying with Star Wars, is the adorable BD-1 from the Star Wars Jedi series of games. At number 2, going back to Star Trek, is the incredible Data. And at number 1, couldn't be anyone else but the amazing Hu Yang.
Ah, cool. So, if anybody who was doing counting while that was going on, actually, Star Wars won it on the last pick by 8 points to 7. So that's the second one in a row where Star Wars has got.
Star Trek was trumping Star Wars for a long time in our episodes. It's finally picking up pace.
Yeah, definitely. Anybody honourable mentions? Arwyn?
Yes, so many. So K2SO was one of them, but chatted about him already. I have a nostalgia one, LE series repair droid. It's one of the droids that a droid engineer in Star Wars Galaxies could manufacture, and he was my first droid, and I thought he was super cool looking. Um, Also from the Old Republic game, the Republic medical droid that you would go to get stims and such.
Yep.
I love the design of that one. From Star Trek Picard, the Capellius androids I thought were amazing. In particular, Saga. I thought she was super cool. Very. I won't say any more about Saga. Just, just liked her. Oh, and I'm almost done with my honorable mentions. This guy.
Oh, yes.
Oh, yeah.
This is 4-LOM. He is a protocol droid that was converted into an assassin. I mean, how could you not love a droid that has 6 million different ways of being able to tell you I'm about to kill you? So he's awesome. And my number 1 of my honorable mentions, this is from Star Trek actually, the Dreadnought Cardassian ATR 4107 missile
Oh,
that B'Elanna had to destroy,
uh,
that she had reprogrammed and it was a Cardassian sentient missile that she had reprogrammed to attack and turned it back on when she was a Maquis member toward the Cardassians.
I love that one, and I wish I thought about that. I wish I did. Oh God.
What
Wow.
about you, Ben? What are your honorable mentions?
Oh yeah. So one that you just made me think about, actually talking about Picard, was Soshi Asha and her sister, and the other androids like that. I did love those. Also thinking about Picard, one I did remember was all the Rios's holograms on his ship. Emergency medical hologram, emergency navigation hologram, emergency pilot one. Um, there was another one at hospitality,
Yeah,
emergency
yeah. Hospitality
hospitality
Oh,
one.
program,
right.
yeah.
Yes,
But
yes.
and I think I am missing one out of those. The one I haven't picked, but
It's the
all
different
those.
accents they have that just totally get me. They're
Yeah,
brilliant.
And the
yeah,
personalities. I
Hmm.
mean, oh my gosh, that actor is so amazing.
yeah. No, I did love it. Those ones. I did briefly consider the HK units, but I didn't know much about. Haven't uh, hadn't played with HK-47 in the KOTOR games very often, and I didn't think H42 was probably good enough to get up there. And two last ones that I want to mention I did like, but just didn't fit my rules was the Gonk droids and the mouse droids from Star Wars. Oh, and actually, the famous one that I completely forgot, and didn't completely forget, but nearly forgot in my shortlist here, and was so close to getting on here, and I'm surprised nobody had picked this droid, was R2D2. It is the most unbelievable droid.
Well, R2D2 did make my honourable mentions list. Again, very memorable, very unique droid. Again, full of personality for basically being a bucket on wheels. I love him. I've got a mug. It's not with me just now, but I do have a mug with a drawing of R2D2, and underneath it says R2T2 because that just makes me giggle.
No.
How cute. Other ones that have already been mentioned include Moriarty and the Rios holograms as well. One that hasn't been mentioned is Chopper from
Yeah.
Star Wars Rebels and Ahsoka. He probably trumps, he potentially trumps HK-47 for being an absolute sociopath.
Yeah,
And
can we
then
just talk about his kill count? Oh my gosh.
it's insane, isn't it?
It is insane. Yeah. Go on.
I,
Sorry.
I, I know. I just every time I picture him, you don't imagine him being that lethal. And then the last one, which is one outside of Star Trek and Star Wars, from the Orville, is Isaac. He's a Kalon. And for anyone who's not watched the Orville, the Kalon are a artificial species that actually end up taking up a considerable amount of story time through the seasons of the Orville. They're very, very interesting. I won't go into it too much, but the Orville is on Disney Plus, and actually, if you're looking for something Star Trek-esque that you don't want to take too seriously in the initial few episodes, but keep to that very nice Star Trek sci-fi episodic sort of format of old, definitely give it a try. It starts off quite light-hearted, and it is fun in that way, and then as you get further into it, it starts getting more and more serious, and actually at one point it gets quite dark, but the Kalons are probably my favourite species in that series, so yeah.
And that's a curiosity question. I don't know if you know the answer. Is he named after Isaac Asimov? Oh, by any chance? That's the first name that came to mind when you said that name.
I cannot remember, but he does pick the name. He does tell you in one of the episodes he picked the name Isaac from someone. That sounds familiar, Ben. You might be right. We'll need to check that offline.
Yeah, definitely.
And yeah, that pretty much covers off. There were so many others, but I'll stop there. That'll cover off my honourable mentions.
Cool. In that case, is there anything? Oh, Olympus, where where can people find you?
I was going to say we could do our shameless plugs now. You guys can find me on Twitch, Olympus0511. I had to take a little skip from streaming for most of December due to work commitments and a few other things going on, but I started back a couple of days ago playing Star Wars Jedi Survivor, which I've been enjoying. So yeah, you can find me on there. You can also find me on Twitter, same name, Olympus0511. Arwyn, where can we find you?
Well, I am on an extended social media break. My socials are at Arwyn Babelfish, but I'm not checking them. I guess the safest place you could find me is I am on ELH's live stream, which is called Star Trek Aristotle, which is twitch.tv/ELH1. We broadcast on Monday evenings. Pacific time is 6 p.m., 9 p.m. Eastern time, and the VOD shows up on YouTube the next day, usually on ELH's YouTube channel. So
Brilliant.
That's me.
Thank you.
Yeah,
and Ben, where can we find you?
Oh, in a minute. And if you do want to find out more about ELH, because he is a big Star Trek Adventures person who puts a lot of content out there, if you just put ELH Star Trek Adventures, you'll find him on Google. I just checked it myself, as you probably saw with the bright screen coming up on my face there. Just checking that. But yeah, you'll find me on Twitter, TrekWars Fantasy. I will have a Discord and chat where I'm happy to talk Star Trek, Star Wars, Star Trek Adventures as well. And I know guys here are as well.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I do. And if you're watching this on YouTube, you will see that's my link. And if you're on Spotify, I do Trek Wars and Fantasy on YouTube and Twitch as well. I have done a couple more streams recently, but that's spontaneous. But YouTube is the main location for me. So, yeah. Anything else to add to that, gents?
After you, Arwyn.
I was just going to say how grateful I am for you both having me. This has been a lot of fun, and this is the first time I've ever done any kind of foray into podcasting. So I appreciate the opportunity. You're both a lot of fun to chat to.
Thank you.
What a great subject to come on. So thank you so much.
Yeah, and thank you for coming on and joining us after I'd done this. And it was actually that, if you're looking at this on YouTube, the Roy Yang, what is it? I was going to say a toy model that you had that you showed on Discord, and it got me thinking: should we invite Arwyn into this? And it got that's the reason. That was the main thing that made me ask, actually.
Oh, is that right? Okay.
Yeah.
You just never know how this is going to work out. Well, I'm glad I ran my mouth. Good.
Yeah.
No, Arwyn, thank you so much for agreeing to jump on and do this with us. I've had a great time chatting with you and with Ben on this as well. It's been really good fun. And yeah, it's we could have kept going for ages, I think, with the sheer amount of droids and AI that we're familiar with across these two franchises. But again, I guess final comment from me, I'm just absolutely surprised that we did not overlap at any point. It's been a very, very varied set of 15 choices. So yeah. No, just again, Arwyn, thank you so much for joining us. It's been great fun.
Yeah. So all I'm going to say is, thank you for watching, everybody else, and please follow and subscribe and like on whichever content platform you are watching this on. And thank you for again, thank you for watching, and live long and prosper. Or may the force be with you.
May the force be with you.